She's still watching you, and the silence isn't what you think. Every move you make, every word you say, or don't say, she notices. But why hasn't she reached out? Why hasn't she called? Why hasn't she shown what's really in her heart? The truth is, women are quietly observing, silently measuring, and carefully deciding if you're truly worth her time. And in those quiet moments, your actions speak louder than any words ever could. By the end of this video, you'll finally understand the hidden signals she's been sending all along. The ones most men completely miss. Pay attention, because missing this could mean losing her before you even realize she was yours to keep. Comment below where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next. You've probably felt it before. She's not texting back, she's not calling. And yet somehow you feel her presence lingering. That quiet observation can drive a man crazy, leaving him second, guessing every word he's ever spoken. But here's the first truth you need to understand. Silence does not equal disinterest. In fact, it often signals the exact opposite. Women are wired to notice the subtleties, to see beyond what is said, and focus on what is shown through behavior, character, and consistency. When she's silent, she's not absent. She's watching, learning, and evaluating. This is a concept most men overlook, because society teaches us to equate communication with emotional investment. But psychology tells us differently. Women often rely on non-verbal cues, intuition, and observation to make decisions about trust and attraction. She's silently weighing your actions against her standards, testing whether your words align with your behavior. And in this quiet space, she's gathering the information she needs to decide whether you're someone worth investing her heart in. Think about it like this. When she's silent, she's not giving away her emotions freely because she understands their value. Silence is strategic, protective, and even revealing if you know how to read it. She wants to see whether you remain grounded, confident, and authentic when she isn't there to affirm you. Will you crumble under the uncertainty, chasing validation, or will you stand tall and show her that your worth isn't dependent on her approval? The answer she sees will shape her perception far more than any conversation ever could. Men often misinterpret this quiet period as rejection, and in doing so, they make the mistake of overcompensating. They send messages, call too often, or try to force engagement, unknowingly signaling insecurity. What she observes during these moments is not your desperation, but your composure, your ability to stay present, focused, and emotionally mature in the absence of her direct attention is far more attractive than any flattery or charm you could muster. Understanding this dynamic is essential because it flips the entire narrative. Her silence is not a barrier. It is an invitation to grow, to show depth, and to demonstrate resilience. There is a philosophical aspect to this as well. Silence creates a space for reflection, both for her and for you. In the quiet, the superficial fades, and what remains is authenticity. Women have an innate ability to sense truth. They can tell whether a man's confidence is real or constructed. Her silence is a mirror, reflecting not only her judgment, but also your own readiness to face yourself. Are you someone who thrives when no one is watching? Or are you dependent on constant reassurance? Her quiet is designed to answer that question before any emotional investment is made. This doesn't mean you should withdraw entirely or ignore her. It means you must shift your focus inward. This is the time to work on yourself, to strengthen your purpose, to refine your character, and to live in a way that naturally draws her in without effort. Women are drawn to men who carry themselves with an inner stability, men whose lives are full even in moments of silence. If you spend this period panicking, analyzing every small action, you are missing the opportunity to demonstrate the qualities she is actually looking for: patience, consistency, and depth. So, when she's silent, Pause and reframe the narrative in your mind. Understand that her observation is deliberate, informed, and deeply insightful. She is not idle. She is carefully evaluating your actions, intentions, and emotional responses. And if you approach this moment with awareness, with control over your own narrative, you are not only respecting her process, you are setting yourself apart as a man who is rare, grounded, and capable of sustaining genuine attraction. In the end, the most important takeaway is simple. Silence is not empty. It carries meaning, weight, and intention. When you learn to interpret it correctly, you gain insight into not only her psychology, but also your own growth potential. It's a test of patience, a test of self-awareness, and a test of character. Meet it with composure, act with purpose, and live fully in your own world. Because the man who thrives in her quiet observation is the one she cannot ignore. And here's the truth that I want you to carry with you. Her silence is not a threat. It's an opportunity to grow, to reflect, and to become the man who doesn't just attract attention, but earns respect and genuine desire. So the next time she's watching silently, remember, she sees everything, and what she sees can change the trajectory of your connection forever. You might notice that even when she's silent, she's not just passively observing, she's testing you. And this is where most men completely miss the point. It's easy to assume that silence is about disinterest, about rejection, or about a lack of feelings. But psychologically, women often use quiet moments as a way to measure reactions, to understand how you handle uncertainty, and to see whether your confidence is genuine or fragile. Every human being has a way of revealing themselves when the obvious structures of communication are removed. For her, silence is a tool. It exposes truth without a single word being spoken. Think about it in practical terms. When a woman doesn't respond immediately or holds back from initiating contact, she is watching how you respond to that vacuum. Will you become restless, anxious, and desperate to fill the void, or will you stay grounded, secure in your value, and comfortable with the unknown? The psychology behind this is profound. She isn't looking for perfection. She's looking for stability. She's evaluating whether your emotions are reactive or controlled, whether you are anchored in self-respect or easily swayed by external validation. This test reveals more about your emotional intelligence than any conversation ever could. Men often interpret her silence as a puzzle to be solved, a challenge to be conquered. But in reality, it's a mirror reflecting your own behavior back at you. If you panic, overanalyze, or bombard her with messages she notices, your insecurity becomes transparent. But if you remain calm, patient, and focused on your own life, it communicates something far more powerful: that you are a man of substance who doesn't need constant approval to feel worthy. This is the subtle, almost invisible power that silence creates. It shifts the dynamic from one of chase to one of choice. There is also a philosophical layer here. Life itself is full of uncertainty, and the way we respond to ambiguity says more about us than our responses to clear instructions ever could. Her silence is a small-scale reflection of this principle. She is creating a space in which you are confronted with the unknown, forcing you to engage with your own sense of stability and purpose. When you rise to that challenge, not out of fear but from inner confidence, you demonstrate something timeless: that you are capable of navigating uncertainty without losing yourself. That is deeply attractive, not just to her, but in life overall. It's important to note that this is not manipulation, it is instinct. Women are wired to evaluate potential partners carefully. Her observation through silence is strategic, not cruel. She wants to ensure that her emotional investment is worth it, that her trust is placed in someone capable of consistency and maturity. And in this, there is wisdom. She is essentially asking, who is this man when I am not actively shaping his behavior? What does he reveal about himself when he is left to his own devices? Your ability to answer that question through action, demeanor, and composure is more telling than 1,000 declarations of intent. Understanding this dynamic should fundamentally change your approach. Instead of interpreting silence as a threat or a lack of interest, see it as a lens. Observe your own behavior. Ask yourself, am I reacting out of fear, insecurity, or impatience? Or am I using this moment to grow, to show patience, and to reinforce my own sense of worth? This is the essence of what she is testing, and the insight it provides is invaluable. It allows you to elevate your mindset, to operate from a position of strength, and to align your behavior with the values you want to project. Another key insight is that tests are rarely explicit. She will rarely tell you, I am observing you to see how you handle uncertainty. Instead, it is embedded in small moments, a delayed response, a subtle shift in tone, or the quietness that follows a significant conversation. Men who misread these signals often misstep, trying to force engagement or overcompensate. Those who understand the psychology behind it remain calm, secure, and consistent. In doing so, they not only pass the test, but also deepen the woman's respect and attraction. The subtlety of this approach is powerful because it communicates confidence without words, reliability without effort, and emotional depth without explanation. So, as you navigate these moments, recognize that every silence carries meaning, every delay is a measurement, and every subtle gesture is a reflection of her internal evaluation. Your response doesn't have to be complex. It simply has to be rooted in emotional stability, awareness, and self-respect. The quieter you are, the stronger you become in her eyes, not because you are aloof, but because you embody the principle that your worth is intrinsic, not contingent on her immediate approval. And here's the takeaway that I want you to remember. Her silence is not a challenge to break. It is a truth to understand. It is an invitation to demonstrate resilience, patience, and authenticity. The man who responds with composure, who holds himself accountable to his own standard of value, and who navigates the uncertainty of her quiet observation, is the man who will ultimately earn her trust, respect, and attraction. In the end, the lesson is clear. Tests exist not to frustrate you, but to reveal your strength. Embrace the silence, reflect on your responses, and let your confidence shine without a single word being spoken. Because it is in these moments of quiet that true character is revealed, and it is character that sustains real connection. Even when she's silent, the truth is, she's still watching you, and often more closely than you realize. This observation isn't casual or accidental. It's intentional, strategic, and deeply rooted in her desire to understand who you truly are. Women are highly intuitive. They notice the patterns in your behavior, the choices you make when no one is looking, and the way you carry yourself in moments of uncertainty. Every glance, every action, and every pause communicates something about your character. And while words can be rehearsed, your consistency in action cannot. She's not just watching your surface, she's observing the layers beneath, the habits, the principles, and the integrity that define you as a man. What's fascinating is that much of what she notices is invisible to most men. She observes your interactions with others, how you handle stress, and even how you respond to small inconveniences. These moments, seemingly mundane, reveal far more about your values and emotional intelligence than any conversation could. It's a quiet evaluation, almost like a psychological study in real time. And if you pay attention, you can start to understand why certain patterns in your own behavior elicit attraction, while others push her away. Her silence is not disinterest, It is a lens through which she measures compatibility, trustworthiness, and long-term potential. There's a philosophical layer to this as well. Life itself is full of subtle signals, and understanding them requires awareness, patience, and presence. She's teaching you, in her quiet way, that the most meaningful connections aren't built on words alone, but on consistent action over time. Your integrity, reliability, and authenticity are constantly being recorded in her mind, and these impressions shape how she feels about you long before any explicit declaration is made. This is why impatience, overcommunication, or desperation can be so damaging. They disrupt the narrative she's carefully observing, clouding her perception of who you truly are. It's important to recognize that she isn't simply cataloging your behavior for judgment alone. She's also assessing your self-awareness and emotional maturity. Does your confidence depend on constant validation, or does it emerge from a grounded sense of self-worth? Can you navigate uncertainty gracefully, or do you crumble when faced with a moment of ambiguity? Every man encounters these moments, but few realize that a woman's quiet observation is a mirror, reflecting back not only who you are, but who you could become. She's not testing you to trap you. She's evaluating to see if you are capable of sustaining a meaningful, balanced, and authentic connection. The irony is that most men fail to see this as an opportunity. They misinterpret her silence as rejection and attempt to fill the void with words, explanations, or constant attempts to regain her attention. But the truth is, the man who thrives in this quiet is the one who uses it as a moment of growth. Instead of reacting impulsively, he reflects on his own behavior, focuses on self-improvement, and lives intentionally. The subtle power of observation is that it encourages refinement without confrontation. She is inviting you to elevate your presence in a way that words alone cannot achieve. This dynamic is deeply psychological. Studies show that women often rely on non-verbal cues and patterns of behavior to evaluate long-term compatibility. They are finely attuned to authenticity, and any inconsistencies are noticed immediately. If your actions are aligned with your words, if your confidence is genuine, and if your life carries purpose independent of her attention, she insensitive. Conversely, if your behavior is reactive, you will be insecure or inconsistent, you can list the lie with the show strarent, she will be baddest and the parrotly. There are more that you're regular that directly cross that as well. Silence amplifies clarity, and in this amplification, truth is revealed. At the same time, her observation serves as a guide for you. By understanding what she notices, you gain insight into the qualities that truly matter in a connection: patience, consistency, respect, and emotional intelligence. These are not traits that can be faked. They are cultivated over time. When you focus on embodying them, rather than chasing her attention, you naturally become the man she can trust, respect, and desire. Her quiet watchfulness is, in essence, a roadmap to becoming the version of yourself that attracts meaningful relationships effortlessly. Ultimately, what she is doing is teaching a subtle but profound lesson. Attraction is as much about what you embody as what you express. Her silence allows her to see beyond superficial charm, testing whether your essence matches the vision she holds for a partner. And if you rise to this moment, remaining authentic, consistent, and grounded, you reveal the man she has been looking for all along. She may not speak, but every observation, every note she takes in her mind, moves her closer to understanding who you are and whether you belong in her life in a lasting way. So, the next time she is quiet, instead of fearing it or overanalyzing it, recognize the opportunity before you. Her silence is not absence. It is attention. It is a challenge, yes, but also a gift. It's a chance to show your depth, your emotional intelligence, and your consistency, to live in alignment with your values, to act with integrity, and to carry yourself with calm confidence. The man who embraces this moment and grows within it becomes the one she cannot ignore, the one whose presence leaves a lasting impact on her heart. And here's the closing truth I want you to carry with you. She is watching, she is silent, and she is waiting, but not in vain. The quality of your presence, the strength of your character, and the consistency of your actions are what will capture her attention and admiration. Her silence is not a barrier. It is the stage upon which your true worth is revealed. Step into it fully and let your actions speak in ways words never could.